Back in college, I messed around with and then dumped the ultimate heiress. 3 years later, a pipe burst in my apartment, so I crashed at my buddy's place in the middle of the night. I fumbled my way into the guest room, not realizing I was climbing into her bed. She gave a cold smirk. Well. Looking to rekindle an old flame, I panicked and tried to bolt, but she grabbed me. What's the matter? You show up here and think you can just walk away. In my dream, I was holding someone soft and warm in my arms. My heart was pounding, and just as I was about to make my move, a sharp pain shot through my ear. I snapped awake, staring right into the same captivating eyes from my dream, the ones I could never forget. The delicate lips beneath them were moving. Make, it's been a while. I see you've resorted to some interesting methods to see me again. Are you trying to rekindle our old flame? Terrified, I yanked my ear free and leaped out of bed, my face flushing with embarrassment. Rose Thompson, my ex-girlfriend. How did I end up in bed with her? Her long hair was fanned out across the pillows, and she was wearing nothing but a silk slip that left little to the imagination, showing off her incredible figure. I stammered. What are you doing here? I was about to ask you the same thing. My only thought was to get out of there, but she grabbed my arm before I could make a move. Hey, you can't just show up and then leave. I never would have imagined that after a pipe burst at my place, I'd sneak over to my buddy's apartment in the middle of the night, only to end up in my ex-girlfriend's bed. The noise we were making woke up the owner of the apartment. Alex Miller came over in his pajamas, his voice preceding him. Rose, what's all the shouting about in the middle of the night? When he saw it was me, his eyes went wide with shock. Holy crap, what are you doing here? I managed a weak smile. A pipe burst at my place. I had to come here to take shelter. My buddy pulled me aside, giving me a knowing look. She's my cousin. Did you two actually spend a night together? I was so embarrassed I wanted the floor to swallow me whole. She was the last person on earth I ever wanted to see again. The girl I had once given my entire heart to. In the end, it just wasn't meant to be. In college, she was our campus's resident ice queen. I saw her at a student club meeting and fell for her instantly. I'd heard she was an heiress who thought she was better than everyone else. That all changed one day when she sprained her ankle in the locker room. She hobbled out, her face pale and beaded with sweat from the pain. I happened to be walking by, so I picked her up and carried her to the campus health center. After that, we became friends. I discovered that while she seemed aloof on the surface, she was actually really warm in private and incredibly forgetful, always misplacing things. She would often send me messages asking me to grab this or that for her. She told me I was the most thoughtful guy in the world, that I remembered everything she liked and was always there for her emotionally. She teased me, saying I must have a girlfriend to be so good at this stuff. I just laughed and told her no, she was the first. Her eyes lit up, and she secretly took my hand in hers. The more time I spent with her, the more I understood why everyone called her a goddess. It wasn't just her looks. It was because she was at the very top of the social ladder, the ultimate heiress. They had their own circle they always hung out in, a world completely separate from mine. But she told me she hated how fake everyone in that circle was, and that I was the most genuine person she knew. That made me really happy. I showed her what normal, everyday life was like. Whenever I got a bonus from helping my professor with his research, I'd take her out for a huge meal. Sometimes she'd offer to pay, but I never let her. I always told her, paying is the man's job. I might not have been able to give her a lavish lifestyle, but I gave her everything I had. We were inseparable during that time, but it was just an ordinary romance, the kind that couldn't withstand the slightest storm. One day, a guy from another department, Julian Vance, confronted me. I'm her fiancé. I need you to stay away from Rose. I stared at him, completely shocked. Rose never told me she had a fiancé. Our families have had an arrangement for years. You can't possibly be her boyfriend. What can you possibly offer her? You'll just drag her down. I didn't believe him and started to argue. He just raised an eyebrow arrogantly. Let me show you what her real life is like. Again, he put on a disguise and took me to a lavish mansion. I saw her there with perfect makeup, her hair in an elegant updo, wearing a couture evening gown. She moved through the party with grace and confidence. As the hostess, she was the center of attention, effortlessly charming everyone. It was true. She and I were from two different worlds. See? She's like a queen on her throne, and you're just an ant on the ground. She doesn't need a guy who takes her to food trucks. She needs a partner who can fight alongside her. I looked down at my sneakers and jeans, which were completely out of place. I stubbornly argued back, but she likes me for who I am. To my surprise, Julian just laughed. There are plenty of guys like you. If you don't believe me, check her contacts. She keeps her contacts in groups. Our circle is in one group, and you're in another one with others. The next day, when I met up with Rose, I checked her phone while she was in the restroom. And there it was, My contact name was just a set of initials and a number. There were 7 or 8 others just like it, all filed under the same group. When she came back, I confronted her. "Are you bored with me?" She blinked playfully. "Not at all. I love being with you. You help me relax. I don't have to be so guarded all the time." "So, are there other guys who help you relax?" She tilted her head, thinking. "A few, I guess." My heart sank. "So, is there a future for me in your life?" "Of course there is. You'll work with me at the company. You know, there's this trendy term now, live-in son-in-law. What do you think of that?" She looked at me with a playful glint in her eye, as if it were just a casual joke. My heart plummeted. That wasn't what I wanted. I wanted to be her equal. Then one day, we had just finished a movie. The ending was so tragic it made everything feel pointless. "We should break up." She stared at me, shocked, and then her princess temper flared. "Fine, let's break up. But don't you come crying back to me." When she tried to message me later, I just blocked her number. And that was it. We didn't speak for 3 years. I heard she'd moved out of the country. Alex's jaw hit the floor. "Dude, I can't believe you and my cousin have this history." No wonder she was so down for a while. She wouldn't talk to anyone and just locked herself in her room for ages. I couldn't imagine her being heartbroken over me. I was just one of the 7 or 8 guys with code names at her phone. Getting dumped is always tough. It's nothing unusual. I had work the next day, plus I had to find a plumber to fix the pipe at my apartment. I left first thing in the morning, determined to avoid any more contact with her. I'm a project lead at a tech company now, and today we had a kickoff meeting with a major corporation. My team and I rushed over to their office, and the person greeting us was none other than Rose Thompson. A shiver went down my spine, but there was no way to avoid this. This project has a tight deadline and a heavy workload. The team will need to work overtime frequently, and many of the business requirements will need to be confirmed with me directly. I nodded. We won the contract, so we're committed to giving it our all. She pointed a finger at me. "Make, please come to my office so we can discuss the details." I followed her into an office that was sleek and minimalist, with a stark style that seemed at odds with her delicate appearance. And yet, the tailored business suit she wore fit her perfectly, accentuating her every move as she walked. I tried to collect myself. She started by discussing the project, and I answered all her questions. Then, she suddenly changed the subject. "The project schedule is going to be demanding. Will your girlfriend mind if you get home late?" I shook my head. I don't know what possessed me, but I asked, "You'll be working late with us too, won't you? Will your boyfriend have a problem with that?" She answered slowly, drawing out her words. "Oh, my boyfriend. He has quite a temper. Very headstrong." I figured she meant Julian, and a bitter feeling I couldn't name twisted in my gut. "In that case, you probably shouldn't stay so late with us. I can just report any issues to you the next morning." She stared at me for a long moment, then suddenly stood up and moved to the chair right beside me. I shifted uncomfortably away from her. She suddenly grabbed the sleeve of my shirt. "Why did you block me? If we can't be lovers, can't we at least be friends?" My heart ached. Did she really think I had a choice? She leaned in close, and I could feel her warm, sweet-scented breath on my face. "Make I—" Before she could finish, there was a knock at the door. The person who walked in was Julian. "Rose, my apologies. I didn't realize you had company." He turned to look at me and froze for a second. "Well, if it isn't our old campus heartthrob, Make. Long time no see. I hear you're project lead now." The sight of him brought back all the old memories, and a bitter jealousy churned inside me. He walked over and wrapped his arm around Rose's waist possessively. "Were you in the mood for tonight? I've already made reservations." Then he turned back to me. "Make, care to join us?" I shot to my feet. "Sorry, I have plans tonight. My girlfriend already made reservations for us." "Excuse me." Rose looked completely stunned, and under Julian's mocking gaze, I made a hasty retreat. The heart I thought I had frozen over years ago was shattered the moment I saw them together. The girlfriend I mentioned was a college classmate of mine named Sarah Quinn. She had pursued me back in school, but I turned her down flat. Recently, I worked on a project with her family's company and spent 3 months at their offices. As the client, she was always organizing team dinners for the engineers. Every single time, she tried to get me drunk. She looked at me like I was prey. I instinctively tried to avoid her, but in that moment, I had to use her as a shield. I never expected this project to be with the Thompson Corporation, with Rose now at the helm. I did my best to avoid her. I never went to her office unless she summoned me. And even then, I always brought a colleague along to give the report. I saw Julian in her office several times, acting like he owned the place. Sometimes while Rose was in a meeting with us, Julian would just hang around, listening in and occasionally adding his own comments. It was clear they were already a couple, and the office rumor mill confirmed they were together. One night, all my colleagues had gone home, but I was still there, stuck on a piece of code with a persistent bug I couldn't fix. I was so focused that I didn't hear the footsteps approaching from behind. A cup of coffee appeared beside me. I turned, startled, and my hand jerked, spilling the entire cup all over Rose. I grabbed some napkins and rushed to help her clean it up, but as I dabbed at the stain, I realized my mistake. Her blouse was thin, and I could feel the soft warmth of her skin beneath it. I snatched my hand back and just stood there awkwardly, like a kid who'd just broken a vase. Rose sighed. "Go downstairs and buy me a new outfit. I need a change." I hurried downstairs to a 24-hour convenience store and bought her a new shirt and pants. After a moment's hesitation, I grabbed a set of underwear as well. I had seen the coffee soak right through her blouse when I was trying to clean it. When I handed her the clothes, she suddenly closed the distance between us, backing me up against the desk. "You still remember my size? Haven't you noticed I've developed over the past few years?" I turned my head away, my heart racing, unable to meet her gaze. "Well, you've kept yourself in good shape. I bought the top one size bigger, just in case." After she changed, her whole demeanor shifted. For a second, I saw the girl from college, the one who used to grab street food with. She opened her mouth to say something else, but my phone buzzed with an urgent call. I answered it. "Okay, I'm on my way." I held up my phone as an explanation, grabbed my bag, and headed for the door. "Family emergency. I have to go. Bye." The call was from my neighbor. The plumber hadn't fixed the pipe properly, and now it was leaking into his apartment. I had to rush home to shut off the water main. It looked like the plumber was right. If this happened again, the whole system would need to be replaced. I had no choice but to call my buddy, Alex, for help again. "Sure, come over. I'm out of town on business all week anyway." I asked cautiously. "Your cousin's not there, is she?" "Nah, she's long gone." "Don't worry, she doesn't even know the code to my door." Relieved, I worked late again that night, and then headed over to Alex's apartment. Traumatized by the last incident, I learned my lesson and went straight for the master bedroom this time. I was so exhausted from the past few days that I passed out the moment my head hit the pillow. In the middle of the night, a noise beside me woke me up. I nearly had a heart attack when I saw Rose's face again. This time, she had me pinned to the bed. Her long hair brushed against my cheek, and the soft contact made my entire body go rigid. "We need to talk." My throat was dry, and I was too scared to move a muscle. "How did you get the code to the apartment?" A small smile played on Rose's lips. "I'm the one who sent Alex on that business trip, and I had the door code changed." "Get off of me." "I'll get off when you agree to have a real conversation with me. Just get off." "No." Right before I lost my temper, she finally moved. It took me a moment to compose myself before I climbed out of the bed. We sat across from each other, each holding a cup of coffee. She casually ran her fingers through her long hair, her relaxed posture only highlighting how tense I was. There was a heavy feeling in my chest. "If you're just looking to play games, find someone else. I'm not interested." "Who says you're not the one? Back in college, you were the only one." I ran my hands through my hair in frustration. "We broke up, remember?" "I haven't forgotten. You broke up with me. I never agreed to it." I scoffed. "You're unbelievable. You have a fiancé, so why are you still coming after me? What? Are you trying to collect boy toys like some ancient princess?" "Boy toys?" Rose's expression hardened with anger. "Is that how you see yourself? You really have no self-respect." I shouted back, my voice louder than hers. "What do you call being just one of your many guys, then? Is that really what you think of me? What else am I supposed to think? I'm just a companion who gets a code name in your phone." We argued until we were both furious. In the middle of the night, I stormed out, slammed the door, and checked into a nearby hotel. I ignored her for days. Outside of work, I wanted nothing to do with Rose. Then Sarah Quinn called me out of the blue. She said there was an issue with our previous project and asked if I could come take a look. Worried, I dropped everything and rushed over. It turned out Sarah was at a dinner meeting with clients. She told me to meet her in the private dining room. When I got there, the room was full of people networking and making deals over dinner. And Rose was there, too. In front of everyone, Sarah pulled me down to sit beside her on a small sofa, acting very familiar. She announced we had something to discuss and told the others to pay us no mind. Rose's eyes were fixed on me, her expression unreadable. A man tried to raise a toast to Rose, but she completely ignored him, her gaze locked on the two of us. I kept my eyes down, opened my laptop, and started discussing the project with Sarah. Sarah leaned closer and closer, draping her arm over the back of the sofa behind me. From Rose's angle, it must have looked like she had her arm around me. We had been talking for about 10 minutes when my laptop was suddenly snatched out of my hands. Rose was standing in front of us, holding my laptop, and she looked furious. "This is a dinner, not a work meeting. Take it back to the office." Sarah smiled provocatively. "Rose, I'm hosting tonight. It's not your place to give orders. Is ignoring all your other guests your idea of hospitality?" Sarah shot back without missing a beat. "The project Make and I are discussing is critical. worth at least $3 million. He's my guest of honor. Only $3 million? Make his handling a $10 million project for my corporation. You think your $3 million is a big deal? Seeing a fight about to break out, I quickly intervened. I grabbed an empty decanter from the table and filled it with white wine, a good half bottle's worth. My apologies for intruding. Ms. Thompson, Ms. Quinn invited me here. If she has offended you, I'll take responsibility for it. With that, I tilted my head back and down the entire glass. The strong liquor burned its way down, and a wave of heat rushed to my head. Rose's expression turned icy. Make, what do you think you're doing? Since when do you speak for Sarah? I wrapped my arm around Sarah's waist. Why can't I? Sarah is my girlfriend. I love her. Sarah smiled with satisfaction and hugged me back. Sorry, Rose. My boyfriend is just very protective of me. Rose staggered, her body swaying unsteadily. I turned down Sarah's offer for a ride and walked home alone through the night streets. The moonlight shrouded me, as hazy as the turmoil in my own heart. That much wine was way more than I could handle. I ended up hugging a trash can on the sidewalk, throwing up until I was dizzy. Someone crouched down in front of me and offered a bottle of water. I looked up, my vision blurry, and saw it was Rose. What do you want? You know I have a girlfriend. She snorted. I'm just here to see how long you can keep up this act. I laughed bitterly. Well, now you've seen it. I'm just a regular working guy. I can't compare to rich people like you. Her words were even more cutting. You're right. There's no comparison. Not just in money, but in the deep-seated insecurity and cowardice you have. Her words felt like a knife twisting in my gut. I really misjudged you. I thought you were above caring about status, but you've let it crush you so completely that you can't even see people for who they are anymore. Her accusation made me break out in a sweat, and I lashed out defensively. At least I'm not a spoiled heiress who plays with people's feelings. I was drunk, and my words were cruel. Rose couldn't take it anymore. She suddenly kissed me. It was like a spark igniting a wildfire, all our frustration and anger pouring into that kiss. It started as a battle, neither of us willing to give in, but slowly softened into something tender. We kissed all the way from the street back to the apartment, and all the way to the bed, finally finishing what we had started 3 years ago. When I woke up, I was in the master bedroom at Alex's place, and someone had changed me into clean clothes. The smell of breakfast was coming from the kitchen. I walked to the kitchen doorway and saw her, looking completely out of her element, trying to cook. When she saw I was awake, she handed me a mug. It's a hangover remedy. It should help with your headache. I drank it obediently. Porridge was simmering in a pot on the stove. In her flurry of activity, she burned her hand and quickly touched her earlobe to cool it. In that moment, Rose wasn't a powerful CEO. She was just a woman trying to make me breakfast. Dressed in simple sweats, she looked completely new to the kitchen. She was trying to follow a recipe on her phone as she cooked. I noticed several burnt eggs already in the trash can. Come and eat. I spent all morning on this, so don't let it go to waste. I took a bite of the egg she'd made. It was a little burnt, but my eyes started to well up anyway. Just then, Rose's phone rang, and she instantly switched back into her serious, professional persona. After the call, she gave me a quick kiss on the cheek. Be good. Something's come up at the office. I have to go. As she closed the door behind her, I heard her say a name into her phone. Julian. My bright mood instantly clouded over. After breakfast, I went back to the office, where I heard some shocking news. Julian and Rose were getting engaged next month. My hands were trembling. Who was it that just said she wanted to start over with me? The rumor was that, as an engagement gift, their two families had secured a $50 billion deal. An astronomical sum like that would increase the Thompson Corporation's revenue by over 10% this year. If I were her, I'd choose Julian too. I stared blankly at the code on my screen, my mind racing. When would I ever be able to offer her that kind of support? Only then could I feel worthy of pursuing her. Julian cornered me in the restroom. I heard Rose and Sarah got into a fight over you, and you chose Sarah? I tried to walk past him. It's none of your business. Julian wasn't bothered by my tone. You made the right choice. Even though Sarah is at the bottom of our social circle, she's still completely out of reach for a regular guy like you. As for Rose, she obviously belongs with someone on her own level, like me. I suggest you pack your things and get out of here. I clench my fists. You don't get to tell me what to do. You have no authority over this project. Julian raised an eyebrow. Really? I'm pretty sure you'll find an email in your inbox transferring you off this project. Julian added slowly, savoring the moment. And as for why Rose is still chasing you, it's only because you were the one who broke up with her. She's too proud. She thinks she should have been the one to end things. The only way for her to get her revenge is to get you back, just so she could be the one to dump you this time. I didn't want to hear any more. I went back to my desk and checked my email. Sure enough, there was a message from corporate. Due to a client complaint regarding Make, the project lead will be replaced by... I was being reassigned to a different project, effective immediately. A client complaint? How is that possible? My work on this project had been flawless. I asked my team members about it, but they all stayed quiet. Finally, one of them whispered to me, "It was Julian. He doesn't like you." So he filed a complaint. I heard he also threw a $2 million contract our company's way. I couldn't believe how treacherous he was. He drove a wedge between me and Rose in college, and now he was trying to sabotage my career. As I was packing my things, I overheard other employees gossiping that the two corporations would be officially announcing the engagement any day now. I let out a cold laugh. The woman who told me she loved me just last night was a complete hypocrite. This hurt even more than it did in college. Back then, I was the one who walked away. This time, I was the one being played. My heart turned to ice. Julian had been right about one thing. Regular people can't afford to play the games of the rich. I didn't leave for the new project right away. Instead, I went home and slept for 3 days. I don't know what I was hoping for, but my phone remained silent. No messages from Rose. The person who messaged me the most was Sarah. She was my main source for all the latest gossip. The business tabloids were already reporting that the $50 billion deal was a gift to celebrate the union of the two families. The article included a photo of them arm in arm at a gala, looking like the perfect power couple. There were even gossip sites dedicated to reporting on Rose's private life. The articles portrayed her like a queen, always flanked by one or two handsome men, with photos taken from suggestive angles that hinted at intimacy. The media loves a good love triangle, and with the engagement announcement pending, the paparazzi were having a field day inventing dramatic stories about Rose and her supposed lovers. The ironic part was, I was never mentioned in any of them. I finally broke down and called Rose. The call was immediately rejected. I finally understood Julian's smug smile. I blocked her number again. The day before I was scheduled to leave for the new project, Alex showed up at my door. "What is wrong with you? My cousin has been trying to reach you." I just stared at him grimly. "Why? Does she want me to send an engagement gift?" Alex looked at me, exasperated. "I don't know what's going on between you two, but I do know that 3 years ago, she almost tried to illegally cross the border to get back to you." Illegally cross the border? I had never heard this before. My cousin's family has huge expectations for her. She has a lot of responsibility. After graduation, they wanted her to go abroad for her master's, but she refused. They ended up forcing her onto the plane. I heard later they confiscated her passport, and she actually tried to find a way to sneak back into the country. All for some guy. I just found out that guy was you. How could that be? But I had already broken up with her. What breakup? You dumped her out of nowhere. She had no idea what she'd done wrong. The news from Alex left me reeling. Was I really that important to her? I gave a bitter laugh. Even if she did love me back then, she was about to get engaged to Julian now. What's the point of bringing this up now? We're from different worlds. Besides, I wasn't her only backup plan. Alex looked at me with complete disappointment. What backup plan would she fight her entire family for? She did it 3 years ago, and she's doing it again right now for you. I sat in the airport in a daze, replaying the last few weeks in my head, each memory a fresh stab to the heart. A news alert popped up on my phone. Thomson Corporation stock had plummeted. Rumor was the $50 billion deal was in trouble. I swiped the notification away. The next alert would probably be the engagement announcement, and the stock would shoot right back up. This was just gossip for most people, not something a regular guy like me needed to worry about. The boarding call for my flight echoed through the terminal. I grabbed my carry-on and headed for the gate. "Make, don't you dare take another step." A shout from behind me stopped me in my tracks. Rose was running toward me from the terminal entrance, her hair a mess, having kicked off her high heels somewhere along the way. She was sprinting barefoot across the airport floor, straight at me. I caught her in my arms as she crashed into me. The first thing I did was check her bare feet to see if they were cut. I lifted her feet into my lap and carefully wiped the grime from the soles. She was panting, struggling to get the words out. "You, Make, where do you think you're going? You're trying to leave me again. You broke my heart once. Are you trying to do it again? How could you be so cruel? But aren't you getting engaged to Julian? What about the $50 billion deal?" She gave me a sharp rap on the head. "Do you really think I'm the kind of person who would sell herself for money? $50 billion? I can earn that back myself in 3 years. I'm powerful enough on my own now. I don't need to marry someone to secure my position. Do you have that little faith in me? And how is leaving without a word any different from what a jerk would do?" I was wrong. The moment she ran towards me, I knew how wrong I'd been. No matter my doubts, no matter the gap between our worlds, she had come for me. I canceled all my meetings today just to find you. I lost you 3 years ago. I'm not making that mistake again. My eyes welled with tears. I went home with her. On the way, her phone never stopped ringing with what sounded like angry calls from her board. That's right. I will not be marrying into the Vance family. I promise this won't harm the corporation's interests. I have a boyfriend. I will be getting engaged, but not to Julian. The stock price will recover. I have other plans. I got an email on my phone It was from my company, rescinding the transfer order and telling me to return to the Thompson Corporation project immediately. A junior member of my team sent me a message. Boss, you're a legend. You should have seen Rose. She went on a warpath, told everyone that if they replaced you on this project, she'd replace our entire company as the vendor. I looked over at the woman beside me, furiously handling one crisis after another, and my heart melted. This time, she took me to her place. It was a condo she'd bought after moving back. I was stunned when I walked in. The walls were covered with pictures of us. Most were from our college days, but some were of just me, taken in the 3 years since we'd broken up. She saw me staring at the wall of photos and blushed slightly. I already had the old ones. For the more recent ones, I hired someone to take them secretly. They were what got me through those 3 years abroad. My heart felt like it would burst. I pulled her into my arms. What did I ever do to deserve this? How could I ever be worthy of you? She pouted. I'm the one who decides who's worthy of me, and you're 1,000 times better than Julian. I sighed. But isn't he your fiancé? She shook her head vigorously. He was just the fiancé my family picked out. As the family heir, it was hard to get out of. 3 years ago, I might not have had a choice, but I do now. 3 years ago, you blocked me, and my parents sent me away. They're very controlling and have high expectations. They told me my responsibility was to our thousands of employees, not to my own love life. Hearing that made my heart heavy. My life was so much simpler than hers. The moment you said you had a girlfriend, I had someone look into it. I know Sarah is into you, but to her, you're just a conquest. The second she won you over, she would have dropped you without a second thought. The Vance family are business partners. I needed an escort for events, and he needed the connection. We were using each other. He was a convenient shield, and I did business with his family. You could even call it a marriage of convenience. Life after the wedding would have been the same, except we would never have been a real husband and wife. My heart ached for her. I wanted to slap myself for being so stupid. You have no idea how happy I was when you climbed into my bed that night. For 3 years, I've been trying to understand why you broke up with me. I thought maybe I had a bad temper, or maybe I was too overbearing. But those 4 years in college were the happiest of my life. You cherished me, you loved me, you treated me with more respect than anyone. Why would I ever give that up? I've already dedicated my entire life to the Thompson Corporation. Can't I have this one thing, my own love story for myself? A lump formed in my throat. So what did you mean by that live-in son-in-law comment? Huh, is that what you were worried about? I was just joking. From the outside, I guess people would see you as marrying into the family, but I don't care what other people think. In my heart, you've always been my equal. So, are you still willing to accept the willful, short-tempered Rose who made you feel so insecure back then? It was the most beautiful thing anyone had ever said to me. I have one more question. Why was my contact name in your phone a code? She opened her phone, and sure enough, my contact was still listed as a code. My name is Make, so I was M1. That was because my parents were incredibly strict. They were terrified I'd get involved with the wrong person. That's why I never made a big deal about our relationship on campus. I had your name in my contacts so my parents wouldn't find out and cause trouble for you. And the other code names? They're the same. They're my closest friends, people from outside my family's circle who I know care about me for real. Are any of them guys? Of course. See, this one is my executive assistant, and this one is my VP. They're professionals I've known forever, people from outside the usual crowd. I'm closer to them. They see me for me, not for my family name. I can trust them completely. And you are always number one. Make, we've both grown up in the last 3 years. Maybe all that youthful immaturity and stubbornness was something we had to go through. After all this time, I know what's in my heart. The question is, do you know what's in yours? All my questions were answered, and I felt a fresh wave of shame. You really love me? Of course I do. I loved you 3 years ago, and I love you even more now. She had never said that before. It was the one thing I'd wanted to hear all through college. I had been a coward. I had let my insecurity get the best of me. Rose's status, her aura, had always intimidated me. Just like she said, I had only seen her wealth and her status, and I'd completely overlooked the person underneath. The truth is, deep down, you're just a girl who needs to be loved, and that's something I can give you. I might not have a lot of money, but I will always give you my absolute best. They say that having everything money can buy doesn't mean you have everything you need. I finally understood what I had to offer her. I won't be insecure anymore. I'm happy to be the man who supports you. Let them call me a trophy husband. I don't care. I'll be the one who's there to pick up the things you forget. I'll be the one you can finally let your guard down with. The one who sees past the strong facade and the forced smiles. All the doubts and suspicions finally came to an end. Our immaturity and my own weakness back then gave people like Julian an opening to exploit. We had both forgotten why we fell for each other in the first place. I'm not a social climber, and she doesn't care about status. We got together because we genuinely cared for each other. I can support myself just fine. Even if Rose lost every penny of her family's fortune, I could still provide for her. Life is too short to get hung up on things that don't matter. We should just focus on being happy together, one day at a time. My words brought tears to Rose's eyes, and she nestled into my arms. There's this heavy feeling in my chest, like a weight is pressing down on it. Can you just hold me? My heart began to pound. When it came to her, I had no defenses at all.